There are certain things that I wish I knew when starting out in Valorant that I only know now because of experience. I hope to help you start off as well as possible by filling you in on things you need to be aware of, ways to get better quickly, and pitfalls that you will want to avoid. Don't forget to subscribe. Keep in mind that these tips did work for me, but you may need something different. That is up to your own judgment. Hello everyone, my name is Icebox, and let's get started. Any sensitivity that works for you is good, but in games like Valorant, lower sensitivities tend to be better. This is because with good game sense, you will generally know where you should be looking, so 180s and 360s are unnecessary. On the other hand, your aim needs to be very precise, and lower sensitivities allow you to make smaller adjustments so that you can more easily land the precision shots that win fights. The best agents to play when starting off are Sage, Omen, and Brim, in that order, because these agents are strong in almost every situation and can be played very effectively with minimal experience. After this, Reyna, Phoenix, and Cypher, despite being more situational, can be played decently with minimal experience, but require moderate experience to unlock the bulk of their potential. I made the mistake of buying Raze first, which was not good because she is one of the most difficult agents to play decently with less experience. I would recommend buying Omen first, followed by either Reyna or Viper. You may have noticed that opponents have outlines around them. When I started out, I wish I had known that I could change this color in the settings menu to contrast the best with the map in order to make opponents easier to see, which can help with reaction time. In addition, you can change crosshair color, and contrasting crosshair against both the outlines and the map can help prevent losing your crosshair in a mess of similar colors. I often change the outline and crosshair on a map by map basis. When you start out, you won't know anything about the game. There is going to be a period of rapid improvement where your level of game knowledge is catching up to all your raw skills like reaction time, intelligence, and hand-eye coordination. It could be very advantageous not to go for a competitive rank until your game knowledge catches up with your raw skill. The way the elo system works, the earliest games can change your rank the most. Sure, you may move up consistently if you place low, but it will take way longer than it has to, and you are more prone to developing the bad habits that you find from other players in your first rank. The first weapons I would recommend learning are the Ghost, the Spectre, the Vandal, and the Phantom. These are all strong general use picks which cover a broad range of price points and could be considered meta. Valorant is super unforgiving. Getting picked off early means sitting out until the next round. On top of that, it is uniquely frustrating to play upwards of 20 rounds on the same map, losing the same fights to the same people. There will be games like this that feel like loops until you learn strategies to break them. A positive or neutral attitude that is resilient to disappointment is very important in Valorant. If you are constantly raging, the game is not going to be very fun. I would recommend trying out focusing on having fun or on improvement instead of success. I know that these work out well for lots of people. Bouncing back from disappointment is also crucial, and I have links to videos on both in the description down below. Spraying in Valorant is kind of weird. Unlike most other games, the bullets do not necessarily go where the crosshair is. Instead, each weapon has a mix of a spray pattern and random recoil. The first part of a spray will follow a set pattern pretty consistently. Memorize the pattern and ingrain it in muscle memory to spray the first part accurately. The tail end of the magazine will usually have quite a bit of random recoil. For the tail end, you can read the way the weapon is moving or look at where the tracers are going in order to know how to correct your spray and stay on target. Accelerate your growth by drawing on the experience of content creators who have the answer key. Learning by experience is very valuable, but it is also slow. Skipping directly to a correct technique and focusing on that can help you improve more quickly. At the same time, one tip will rarely work for everyone. Don't be afraid to drop suggestions if you've tried them thoroughly but they don't seem to benefit you. Where most games are the opposite, Valorant characters run by default, and you can hold shift to walk. Walking is often advantageous because it is silent. In Valorant, when running, you may notice a circle around your character on the minimap. That is the radius at which opponents can hear you if you are running. Opponents knowing where you are is often a major disadvantage because they can attack you with utility, rotate to stop your pushes, peek you at the worst times, or even pre-fire you before they see you. Walking can help you get the drop on opponents by making it difficult to pin down your location if they lack information. When players try to learn new skills from pros or content creators, they often attempt to perfectly mimic them. While this can work, everyone does things differently. Your body will naturally want to perform a technique in a certain way, which will likely reflect your inherent strengths and make you faster and more accurate. As such, allowing your personal style to be present in your gameplay is often better than trying to perfectly copy something that works well for someone else. Use your judgment for this one though, because sometimes awkwardness can be a result of unfamiliar movements or using new muscles. Important vocab. A buy is when the team can afford all the equipment it needs. This generally means at least 3,900 credits for rifles and full armor. A force is when the team cannot afford all equipment, but is still going to buy as much as possible in order to try to win the round. A save is when the team is going to buy very little in order to have more credits for the next round. In many multiplayer FPS games, objectives are optional. However, in Valorant, if you want to find success, you really do have to play for the objectives. The game can be loosely divided into two phases. Phase 1 is the attack and the defense. Attackers try to plant the spike by taking a site, and defenders try to stop them. In this phase, either team can win by eliminating all opponents, and defenders can win by stopping a spike plant altogether. If the attackers plant the spike, the round proceeds to the second phase, which is after plant and retake. Here, defenders mount an assault on the site where the spike is planted and try to defuse it. The attackers try to stop the defenders from defusing the spike before it detonates. In this phase, the attackers only win if the spike detonates, or if they eliminate all opponents before they can defuse the spike, and the defenders can only win by defusing the spike. Phase 1 is generally considered an advantage for defenders, while Phase 2 is generally considered an advantage for attackers, but situations vary. You can check the amount of credits that opponents have on the scoreboard. This can help you determine what kind of equipment the opponents will have in the coming round. You can check the minimum amount of credits you will have for the next buy phase with what you have already bought for the coming round. If you want to see whether you can buy a Spectre and still have 4,200 credits for the next round, buy a Spectre and check the value. Avoid playing too many games in a row. I used to think I was a first half player, but really, I started to lose focus around 2.5 games and would start performing much worse at that point. Movement is very important because you have to stand still to be accurate. Even if you lose fights at first, resist the temptation to run and gun when you begin playing. Run and gun is a situational tool, but in new players, it is often a bad habit that holds them back. Learn how to counterstrafe. Link is in the description down below. Most players are torn between fear of failure and wishing for reward. This causes them to make mistakes such as overextending unnecessarily for an extra frag or panicking and running around instead of standing still in a fight. This has a huge impact on a player's game and is one of the biggest problems from Iron all the way through Gold. Having discipline to make pragmatic decisions and choose the best move is one of the most promising traits in new players. I got a question on the combat report recently, so this is how to read it. On the left, you have the damage you've dealt to the opponent, and if you hover, you can see what you hit and whether it was a wallbang. The icon that looks like bullets going into a wall indicates a wallbang. On the right-hand side, you have the damage the opponent dealt to you. In the middle is the opponent, their name, and their rank. You can also have teammates in here if you did damage or assisted them. Where are the best places to play? This is highly situational, but I can recommend a strong position on each map for a new player starting out. That pretty much wraps up the video. Don't forget about the links in the description if you want to dive further into one of these tips. I hope you found some value in this video. Don't forget to subscribe. Best of luck and have a great day.